Today I'll be starting from 27th stanza. It's a long poem. We have been doing it for a couple of days, and now we will be completing it. Today I'll complete the poem. And in the last three stanzas, he is talking about himself. So the nature of the poem is highly subjective in nature, uh, and he is mainly talking about his daily routine, how he used to enjoy nature, and how he used to feel so much for the poor, rustic village people when he used to be in the countryside. And so he is in a way writing his about himself, about the kind of things that he expects to be remembered after his death. So hard by yon wood, hard by here means near or close to, wood forest, now smiling as in scorn. The wood is, the forest is unmindful and unscornful of the opinions of the world. It has nothing, the wood or the forest has nothing to do with the world outside. The wood recognizes its own worth and superiority over other worldly things, because nature is definitely superior over mankind. It doesn't care about the material things that is going on in the world. So muttering his wayward fancies he would row. Muttering means to speak, within, to speak to yourself, to speak to yourself. Wayward fancies, here wayward fancies means thoughts and ideas which are peculiar to the imagination of the poet. Fancies are the imagination which do not, which are not stable. It goes and it doesn't, the fancies and the imaginations, they don't take the straightforward manner or path. They go in a zigzag manner, upside down, past and present, everything. So wayward fancies which can move anywhere, imagination which can move anywhere. So the poet repeated his own ideas to himself as he passed by the wood. Rove means to wander about. Now drooping. Drooping means hanging down his head. Woeful man, sad and pale, because he is thinking about the fate of the poor people. He is by nature contemplative, very sensitive. So now drooping, woeful, vain. So drooping with your head down, woeful, vain, sad and pale, like one forlorn. Forlorn means like a person who has been deserted by the group to which he belonged. So a person who has been left by his fellow people. Crazed with, mad with. Care here means anxieties. Care here means anxieties. Crossed in hopeless love. Crossed in hopeless love means one who could not get success in his love affairs, whose love was not successful. So the poet says that the countryman, again I am reading the lines again, hard by yon wood, now smiling as in scorn, muttering his wayward fancies he would row, now drooping woeful vain, like one forlorn, or crazed with care, or crossed in hopeless love. The poet says that the countryman would say that he had seen the poet, means the poet himself, going by the side of the forest. The forest is scornful of the opinions of the world. It doesn't care, means the forest doesn't care about the opinions of the world, and is conscious of its own worth and superiority. As the poet moved about the forest, he spoke to himself in an indistinct, not clear way. Poetic thoughts and fancies flashed through his mind. Sometimes the poet would be hanging low as if under the weight of some anxieties. He would appear like one who had been left alone by one's fellow man, or who had not achieved success in his love. So again, as I told you, he's talking about himself, and because now he is nowhere to be seen, so the countryman who is contemplative and of a thinking mind like him, what will he read? What will he write? I am reading out the lines. One morn I missed him on the customed hill along the heath, and near his favourite tree. Another came, not yet beside the rill, nor up the lawn, nor at the wood was he. Missed him means could not see the poet. On the customed hill. Customed hill means the hill where the poet used to go every morning in order to enjoy the rising of the sun. So the poet who used to go every day on the hill in order to enjoy the rising sun. Heath is the vast tract of land covered with shrubs. Favorite tree. Favorite tree is the tree of which he was very fond of. This refers to the beech tree under which he used to lie leisurely in the day time. Another came means another morning came, not nor yet beside the rill. On the next day, the poet could not be seen even by the side of his favorite brook. Rill is brook. So he says the poet now imagines that the country gentleman would say that one morning he did not see the poet going on his customary round to the hill from where he used to have the pleasant sight of the rising sun, nor did he find him lying under the beech trees in the noontime. And in this way another morning came, but the poet could not be seen anywhere. He was neither lying by the side of his favorite brook, nor was he to be seen passing by the side of the wood. No trace of the poet could be found. So this is what the poet is imagining, that after his death the person like him would wait for a day or two or three, and then he will find that he is missing. Then he will write an epitaph in his memory. So this is the end of the poem Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. This is a very very important poem, and you will get your reference to context question also from the important lines in the poem. And on the whole, the poem is very important from the point of view of essay type questions also. You can get the critical appreciation of the poem, or the analysis of the poem, and again short type questions you will be getting on in the coming lectures. I'll be taking new poems, but at the same time I'll be giving you assignment on the elegy. Thank you.